We have an errors and retraction. Yeah.
Won't be the last.
It's a good place to start.
It is. It is a good place to start. So
We put out fake news.
We did.
That dump truck flying in the wind and spitting and going through people's trash.
But you know what's funny
What
about
a life.
this, Kalo? Actually, what's funny about this is that really the career path you chose as a songwriter, you're never really that far from that.
That's true.
If it doesn't go well for a little span, you could be hanging off.
You can always fall back to
That's
it.
true.
All the Copenhagen you want, bro.
Oh, come here.
There he
Come
is.
here.
Oh,
There he is.
we have a special guest.
We have
in
a
the
special
house.
guest.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
The Try That in a Small Town podcast begins now.
Welcome back to another episode of Try That in a Small Town podcast.
Back.
We've got Tully. We've got Neil. Hold on.
No, that's Kalo.
We've got Kalo.
Put your glasses on.
Okay. You're right. That is Kalo. That's Neil. And for people that don't know, may have forgotten, we are the songwriters of Try That in a Small Town, recorded by Jason Aldean. We've got a different kind of episode for you guys tonight, right? We just put out a little thing on our Insta. And by the way, follow us at Try That Podcast. Isn't that it?
That's it.
Try That Podcast. All the socials. We're asking for questions, and we've got quite a few good ones. So we're going to take some questions. We're going to read some comments. We're going to go through it. It's going to be fun tonight. But first, as our producer Jim says, we have an errors and retraction. Yeah.
Won't be the last.
It's a good place to start.
It is. It is a good place to start. So
We put out fake news.
We did.
Yeah, we did. Deep fake.
Fake news.
We're not seeing them.
But it wasn't on purpose.
It wasn't
We
on
just
purpose,
didn't have
but
all the
here's-
facts.
I do feel bad about it.
So
do too.
listen, let's read the comment first. It is from Eddie Arnold. I don't think it's the Eddie
I don't think so.
It is a guy named Eddie Arnold. Hey guys, my band and I play the Tootsies circuit on Broadway, owned by Steve Smith. And we have never been told not to play Try That in a Small Town. In fact, we played it several times, whether by request or not. We may even play it tonight. Great. I can't say what the airport Tootsies were told to do, but I should be wearing my glasses, but my band and I were not given any orders to not play it. So, there you go. We went off. Sounds like we shouldn't have.
And for those of you who may not know, we heard that the owners of Tootsies said they couldn't play Try That in a Small
Airport
Town.
Tootsies.
Airport Tootsies.
Yeah.
So, Steve, we are sorry.
If you still want to come on, you can.
You can.
That'd be great.
Wade,
love it.
we need to get Steve a 6-pack of our glorious beer,
Maybe a mug,
a mug, if he wants it. We apologize.
without a doubt.
Actually, though, there's a lesson here. I feel really bad. We should have.
Yeah.
I think I've learned a lesson. We should have maybe checked that a little deeper.
Yeah, we didn't
We
vet
need
it.
a,
Here, I think the
staff
vetting
that,
the vetting process was Neil gets a text and he says, "Oh guys, here's our show right here," and then we just read it and we didn't really check, at all. And it could have been, like
Well,
I
I
said,
wouldn't. I can't call my daughter's fiance a liar.
Well,
You know,
no,
I
you
mean,
don't have to
because-
say.
It's come from a good source.
Yeah, I don't
then.
think-
It came from a reliable source.
Yeah,
I
for
wonder.
sure.
I wonder. I don't think it's from. I think the problem is. I think maybe whoever was singing at the airport Tootsies
Maybe the management
got some bad info, or he himself didn't want to play it. We don't know.
Maybe the singer misspoke.
We went in my classic style, 0 to 60
Guns
immediately.
blazing.
Guns blazing. Steve, so sorry.
Yep. Apologies.
We messed up,
We'll come in tonight and we can have drinks in the house at Tootsies.
which I'm sure he really needs because he owns half Broadway.
Yeah.
But still,
Anyway, we apologize. I'm actually. I feel quite bad.
Well,
yeah,
like you said, it
do.
wasn't the first time. Well, actually, it was the first time on the podcast, but it will not be the last.
I mean,
But
I understand your reaction to it initially. I mean, our songs are like our children, and when they don't get the
Someone's being
exposure
mean
that
to my
they should,
child. I know.
Yeah, I mean,
But Steve wasn't is the problem. We should have dug a little deeper.
right? Or we should have been able to say, well, it could have been a manager, it could have been the airport, but we just didn't know, and we went all in on the owner.
Yeah. That's our first lesson in journalism.
Yes.
It's going to be hard to get on the news like this, guys. Okay.
Yeah.
And next thing we want to get to, we just did an episode about Emma, who went to the Williamson County Voting Center, right? And she got turned away. I hope everybody saw that episode. I think it was really great and some good information. Neil, do you want to tell a story about something about that?
Yeah, they saw everybody, I'm assuming, saw the episode with Emma Holmes on here and the shirt that she wore to go vote in, and the Loves Jesus in America Too shirt. And widely enough, a few days after that, somebody knocks on my door, and I go, and I don't recognize him right off the bat, but it was my neighbor's son-in-law, and he happens to be chairman of the Williamson County Election Commission. And he handed me this note, and I'll read like the last half of it. The last part of the first part says, "I'm a huge fan of your work and your podcast. I also serve as the chairman of the Williamson County Election Commission. To put it plainly, we made a mistake in how Mrs. Holmes was treated with her Loves Jesus in America Too t-shirt. I wanted to let you know that we are going to take the appropriate measures to ensure this never happens again. I appreciate that you covered this situation on the podcast and the way it was presented. Know that we will do everything to make sure expressions of patriotism are not infringed upon again. Keep speaking your truth in songs and the podcast."
That's pretty commendable.
Great.
Oh yeah,
That's amazing.
I was pretty amazed that he did that. And
That's
he
a stand-up human being right there.
And he also apologized to Emma personally.
Wow, really?
Yeah, he did.
which is really good, and that's the point of bringing things up, because generally we've talked about this before. A lot of times, conservatives, you're quiet and you're nice, you really don't say anything, and then nothing happens. So all we did is just bring it to attention, and then things change. And when you're in the right and you're speaking truth, it's kind of easy to do that, but it's very commendable. And when I saw that and you sent that text, I was like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Getting an apology
Yeah, it was.
that quickly, which just shows how powerful our podcast is.
I agree. That's what I take from it.
But that's cool. That's very cool.
It's actually very cool, and that's all you really want out of that scenario, right? Like you
Yes.
said, we're not here to be just yelling from the bleachers or the front row. It's just bringing awareness, and there was awareness brought, and hopefully...
Yeah.
So the four of us are going to wear our Loves Jesus in America Too to vote in November, are we not?
Sure.
I don't see why not.
I love Jesus.
Yeah.
I love America.
America too.
Yeah.
Well, and even in that, it was, a lot like the airport, thing with Steve Smith. It's not, we don't know if it's the head people or if it was a worker or a volunteer just instituting their beliefs.
Well, we don't know. That's
So
what
you
I've
don't-
learned.
So you don't know.
Let's jump to
Is we
conclusions.
don't know. I have learned. I'm learning.
You're right.
No, but it's good for all of us.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to some questions, because actually I'm surprised, guys. There's a lot of people that follow us, want to know some things. Let's see if we can't
This'll be
give
fun.
back to the fans a little.
This is unscripted.
This is
This is unscripted.
I did. I've noted a few here.
Unlike the rest of our podcast.
Yes. Okay. Hope Dover asks, if you had not made it as musicians and songwriters, what career path do you think you would have taken? That's actually an awesome question.
Yeah,
Yep.
it is.
Who wants first go with that?
I know.
Go, Kalo.
So for me, I wanted to be either a garbage man at the time. Now I think they're sanitation engineers, but back then it was just garbage man.
Is this part of a joke
Either
or is
that
this real?
or a mechanic. No, it's real because that's outside and you could dip Copenhagen. At the time I wanted a job where I could work. I could hang off the back of the truck.
I did not see this answer coming.
And dip Copenhagen and get paid for it. And it was going to be fantastic. So that's what I was going to do before my mom and dad said urging me in a different direction. You know, they said, you might be good at this. You know,
anything.
But that's the two things I wanted to do. Even though I knew nothing about auto mechanics,
it probably
really didn't know
sounded
that much.
good at the time, didn't it?
Put
a big old fatty in and hang off that dump truck flying in the wind and spitting and going through people's trash.
But you know what's funny
what
about
a life.
this, Kalo? Actually, what's funny about this is that really the career path you chose as a songwriter, you're never really that far from that.
That's true.
If it doesn't go well for a little span, you could be hanging off.
You can always fall back.
That's true.
All the Copenhagen you want, bro.
And I did end up.
It's right there in your grasp still.
I did end up waiting tables on and off for like 10 years. And I won't say that I'll never do it again. I just hope I don't have to. But I will. I'll do it. It's good money. But that's the two things I wanted to do before if the songwriting thing didn't work out.
TK, what do you got?
Honestly, I'd be screwed. I had no backup plan for sure, and I definitely only wanted to, growing up in music and my family music. So it was, I don't know. I mean, it's a scary thought though. One little weird fork in the road. And
Did
I don't know.
you ever have any job besides playing? I know you played when you were young.
No, and it really bothers Rich Redmond, our drummer. I've never had another job.
Not a single job that you got paid for.
So I mowed lawns when I was 11 or 12 so I could buy a dirt bike. And but I started playing out in bars when I was 14. And I just kept going and going and going until I moved to Nashville. So no, I mean, now don't get me wrong. There were some very thin times. So.
Can you even put yourself in the moment if it didn't work, what you might have done? Or
I think
you are truly one
any
of those
other
people.
talents at all?
Or just your basic rich
You're a
kid.
very good skier.
Oh, no.
What did Kayla say?
Just your basic rich kid.
Yeah. I hope my mother's not listening to this right now. No, it's funny you should say that, Kurt, because I think I tell you this all the time. I wake up, I'm like, wow, close call. I don't know. I mean, I guess you do whatever I would have had to do. I guess I can't imagine it, but yeah, I mean, it's very, very, very.
It's fair.
I don't know what I really don't. I mean, I guess I would have been
That's good.
I guess I would have done whatever.
But that's great because a lot of people say, "Oh, I had no backup plan," but you actually didn't.
Out of either stupidity or just being naive.
No, that's great.
Or it's just your path.
Yeah.
I'm very, very blessed, very lucky, and like I said, though, there are probably some times where I should have maybe taken on.
I say it worked out.
I think so.
Hey, speaking of Steve Smith, though, I remember the first year I lived here.
What?
Back to Tootsies. Okay.
Oh, we're tying it all together.
I'm tying it together, Neil.
I'm with you.
I'm a journalist now. No, I remember you talk about backup plans and stuff. The first year I moved here, like I said, I played out in bands up home and made pretty good money for being young and moved to Nashville. I was playing in the Tootsies window. Now, this is before Tootsies was expanded to a back room and before there was football team and hockey team, so it was pretty thin sometimes. I played down there on some weekends for like 6-10 hours straight and made like $16.
Oh yeah.
And I for the first couple of years I had no bank account here. I kept all my money in like a country crock butter cup. Oh yeah. That was it.
Bank
Folded
account.
Up. That was it.
Yeah. It was a long time before I had a bank
account. So the Tootsies, see, it all ties in. See what I did?
Yeah.
I love it.
Great.
I'm depressed now.
Neil, what would you have chosen if this didn't work out? Or did you have, I know you were a kicker.
Yeah, it wasn't that. I don't look good. Well, I do look good in a suit, but it wouldn't have been a suit job. But I was working construction a lot after I got out of college when I wanted to be doing my music the whole time. And I started working construction and started off picking up sheetrock and putting it in dumpsters and, trash stuff. Kind of like Kalo's aspirations, what he wanted to be. And I didn't enjoy being a trash guy at all. So I learned how to
It's not for
trim.
everybody.
I learned how to work with wood and I finally got to where I could, do trim in houses and lay tile, and I actually thought about opening my own tile company at one time. And I was going to do that for a little while and see what happened there in case the music thing didn't work. But the music thing was always there, just like it was with Tully and, all of us.
One in your family, too, when you grew up in a musical family. Yeah. Your dad.
But,
You know what's funny about that, before we get to Kurt, this isn't really a job, but my stepdad, I'd have to help him when I was like 13 or 14. He'd, build houses, contractor. So I'd help him. He'd go, hey, come help me. I'm pouring foundation today. And he had these, what's called like a form truck, big, heavy forms that you'd pour the basement in. And that's when I knew that music had to work.
Yeah.
Because
manual labor is no good.
Yeah, I would do siding and help him with sheetrock, hold the sheet. I remember thinking when I was 14, like, okay, nah, this isn't for me. Not really a job, but yeah, enough to know.
Oh, come here.
There he
Come
is.
here.
Oh,
There he is.
we have a special guest.
We have
in
a
the
special
house.
guest.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
Hey, come over here.
I'm going to preface this one.
No, get on a mic over
You
here.
ever had a friend in jail?
Oh, no. Hey, get over on a mic.
Get on the mic. Down there.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Look who's back for an unexpected visit to the Try That podcast.
I will start by saying, you ever had a friend in jail, even on birthdays, only sent you Father's Day cards? Well, all I had was a birthday bag. That's for you.
Just for me?
Yeah. I made you a promise.
I didn't know it was your birthday.
It's
your
not
birthday?
What's up, Thresher? It took me a while to find it.
done? What did you do?
Never
no.
opened.
Look at
He's had that for a minute.
Oh.
That is
No,
gold.
I had to get that one in an auction. That's what took a while.
I'm coming
Wow.
over. Traveling. Dude. What a moment on the Try That podcast.
Wow.
So show that thing for the camera, and you guys explain what this is.
You should be able to
This
see it right there.
Is the Holy Grail.
That's original, obviously.
Never opened.
yeah,
That's what I wanted to find you was
have
an original.
No
Never opened.
words. I had this case.
Yeah.
Well, I had no words.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
happened.
I don't
That's
have
pretty
one of those.
amazing.
That's amazing.
We were all.
When they say all, they don't mean all. I didn't know.
Group text without Kelly.
Just the owners of the podcast knew.
Yes.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. I feel
I had to run my
such a
credit to
part.
get through the gate.
Yeah.
That's where I get.
I'm feeling closer all the time. with
Well,
you guys.
you know what's funny?
It's actually a Kurt and Lana thing.
I have no. We were just talking about like moving to Nashville and everything and all that stuff, and having to remind me of selling all my Star Wars stuff to move here.
Yeah.
I got like $230 for it all, and that sold it in this case. This is unopened.
That's vintage, buddy. Never opened.
That's amazing.
That's pretty amazing.
What's it worth?
And we were talking
it's
about
worth
Silver.
so much to me.
We were talking about Silver on the last podcast, and this is who he is.
This
right?
is-
I made you a promise, buddy.
Oh my Silver.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Hold on, don't move. Act like it's
I really
genuine.
do.
Act like it's genuine for a couple more minutes. Oh yeah, there you go.
No, it means a lot. You're such a
That's
good
an
person.
awesome.
But for real, I
thing.
got to take that bag back to my wife. It's just
Had in the family for 6 years.
yeah.
Oh, this is amazing.
Well,
Well, thanks for
That's
letting me crash.
that's
yeah, come
incredible.
on. You're going to make another appearance on our.
I had
Love
no
it.
words.
Well, I didn't want to bring it on the
just-
road. I called Kurt and I said, "This came in yesterday." Well, y'all,
I
record
just don't
stuff.
have any words.
Yeah, I just hope you have a big shelf.
Oh,
Put it on it.
This is. I know where this is going.
Yeah.
Oh,
Love it. I'm glad you love it.
Thank you.
you're
That's
the best.
incredible.
Love you, buddy.
That's a
incredible.
friend.
Hey,
oh, true
love you,
friend.
buddy. All right, y'all go back to sleep.
Man, Silver. Thank
That's
you, buddy.
our first surprise guest.
That was fun.
Wasn't that fun?
I had no idea. You're really good.
Wow.
You're a good president.
We couldn't say anything to you downstairs. He was sitting there.
Oh, I see. Yeah, whatever.
Caleb feels left out.
Hand sand, anybody?
Well, what a surprise.
Dude,
What a surprise. DJ Silver, we talk about this. It's such a great human. But he knew how much this meant to me, and I had no idea.
it's pretty awesome.
This is
I mean, that is whatever year, 77. You tell me.
This is Return of the Jedi, so
Okay,
we're
so
79,
80, is that right?
Yeah, we're in there.
Well, 83 we got.
83. But like I said, when I moved to Nashville, I financed my trip by selling all my Star Wars stuff to this guy.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy.
It's pretty awesome.
That's incredible.
And
it
again,
really
that's
is. It really
who's
is.
Silver.
That's who he is,
is.
though. Man, I like that part of the podcast, getting gifts
special
unexpectedly.
gift.
Yeah, that's a first.
It is
That's
cool
amazing.
on the podcast.
That's awesome.
So back to Kurt. So we were. What would if you
I'll
were doing
quickly,
music,
just so we can get through some more
you
questions.
didn't get to have your.
No, it's good. I didn't necessarily have a backup plan either. I went on the road when I was 18 with my dad, and it was just like, oh, that's going to be cool. I'll be in a band. And that probably went for 8 or 10 years. And then I was going to be done. I was going to go to my backup plan, which was I actually went to broadcasting school for maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
Which is where the voice comes from.
No, but I did that for it was probably a year and a half, and it was a trade school. Being a huge sports fan, I was like, well, I'm short and white, so I can't really play sports, but maybe I can be involved by sports journalism or something. So I was dabbling in some of that. I should have did the game show, like you said, game show host.
Dude, you would have been the best game show host.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
You
could also
you
be.
definitely got the voice for it.
You could have been a pro golfer.
Let's go to the next question.
It's never too late.
Okay. This is actually good because it's going to be good to remind people. It's from Stephanie, and I think it's to Neil.
What?
And said, what made you and Tully decide to start the podcast?
Did we decide to start the podcast?
I don't know, but that's the question. So tell people why, seriously, why did we start the podcast?
I think like we all decided because people all over the country were selling merch with Try That in a Small Town on it.
I don't think, because remember, to be transparent, the podcast came about, we were talking about trying to get some t-shirts and some stuff that with our song title on it, you know?
I know it started with, it was like, and I know I'd mentioned it to each and every one of you about, aren't y'all pissed? I mean, it's like, look at all this freaking people, look at all these people everywhere, profiting off of the title of our song.
And you're not obviously outside of Aldine. You find it on Etsy, you find it on all these places, right?
Yeah. It was everywhere, and it was just, and it started popping up everywhere. And then one day we were playing golf, and we got finished playing golf, and I ran into Wade in the parking lot at the club over there, and just I don't even remember what I said to you, Wade.
No, I'll just say because I remember because y'all were talking about it. He said, yeah, hey, Kalo who's got the trythatinSmalltown.com. He gets these .coms.
That's
all the time.
Exactly what happened.
And so that's what happened. That's what got Wade
because you got that,
intrigued.
and it was everything started like coming together, and you had secured that because the story behind trythatinasmalltown.com was really cool because we were trying to find it and trying to secure it, and saw that somebody else had bought it or owned it, and we're searching for it. So who reached out?
I got an email from GoDaddy.com saying,
and it was from us.
We have somebody who wants to buy your.
We had no idea that Kalo already had it.
TryThatInSmalltown.com.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Neil and Lana were trying to get it, and it was kind of funny. And I'm saying. And I found out it was Neil and Lana. I said, tell them 10 grand.
Kalo,
it was
though,
really funny.
And that's obviously the impetus, but like, what's our mission? Because I think that's important too with the podcast.
Yeah, our mission, just as we talked about it, because we all, like Aldine took the most amount of heat because he's the voice. He's out there and he's taking everything. But we were also taking a lot of heat, and the the song to us got completely misrepresented from what we meant for it to be. It was a song that was to unite people and look out for your neighbor and take care of people, and it wasn't divisive at all. But other people made it something that it wasn't, and so we were just kind of bound and determined and said, hey, let's continue this thing on and make this title, if anything, years down the road, people that hated it say, you know what, I hate that song, but man, those guys are doing some good.
Right.
They just built back Mr. Miller's farm in Kansas last week doing a benefit, playing their songs.
Right. And
so that was our whole, that was the beginning of it, I think.
I think it's important. Hey guys, obviously in the middle of a great conversation, but we're about to go to an ad from our sponsor. Give us a minute. We'll be right back.
We're so thankful for our sponsor. Original Brands is starting a new era in American domestic premium beer.
Amen.
American made, American owned, Original Glory.
Original Glory not only tastes great, but it's under 90 calories and only 2 carbs. Easy drinker and perfect for the active lifestyle.
Bring it.
Original Glory. It's a veteran-founded company with a deep love of country. Original Glory.
Freedom is worth drinking too.
Join the movement at drinkoriginalbrands.com.
And we're back. Thanks for hanging on with us. Hey, this is a good question. I love this. Let's get to it. It's from Michelle Newman. If you were stuck on a deserted island and had only one album with you, what album would you want it to be? I'm not sure. I guess you have a record player too, so that's nice. But a deserted island playlist, actually album. What was it going to be?
Really tough.
It's really tough.
I know, because
right?
I can't decide if I want to rock or if I want something
Well, you
nice
better
and easy.
pick wisely. You only get one. So
Pick wisely.
choose wisely. Lonely.
That's a tough
Anybody got one?
Well,
Would we have anything to play it on? You're on a
Yes,
deserted
That's
island.
kind of that's
Somehow
not it's
you
not
have
a
a-
fair question actually.
I'm going to go Synchronicity by the Police. Covers a lot
Very
of my
solid.
moods. I feel like I can get through the desert with numerous tracks on that.
Jason's looking for a new
Desert
bass
Island.
player as we speak.
You like the Police, bro?
No, Jason's looking for a new bass player as we speak because it wasn't one of his albums.
I don't think one of his Desert Island albums would be one of his own.
True.
No,
Kayla?
it's definitely going to be
Neil?
something I grew up on.
Go ahead, Neil. I have no
Golly,
idea.
I mean, because I would have a tough time if I want to oh man, I don't know.
I mean, I guess while you're thinking, I guess I would go back to for me, high school, what I wore out is Hank Jr. Greatest Hits Volume 2. I mean,
It's a good one.
Just over and over again. I just love those songs. A lot of them are happy, but it covers a lot of ground. And so I'd go back to the one I wore out the most.
I love that.
It's tough.
It's
It really
really
is.
tough because, like you said, you got to cover a lot of things.
I mean, how do you not go with Henley?
Well,
And
that
Innocence.
was actually going to be mine. Henley,
sorry.
and
Really?
Innocence.
Yeah, that's
It's as much as it pains me to say.
we somehow get our
Don
albums
Henley. That's a great record.
yeah.
It's so good.
Mine's probably going to be Keith Whitley.
Good pick. The only thing I'll say, and I love
gosh,
Whitley,
you might-
that's a lot of sad nights.
That sure is.
It's just
you got to cover the scope
Well,
of
you're
mood.
you're
But
on
it's-
a desert island by
It's
yourself.
pure-
It's
Well,
sad.
you'd have
Miami,
Wilson.
Miami. Oh, come on.
Oh no, that could
kidding
get
me?
you
Yeah.
through because that.
Sorry.
No, that's a great pick. It's an impossible question.
And you'd have Wilson with you, a little soccer ball.
Yeah.
Okay, here's
that.
one. Another
Probably.
question. I like this
Say.
one. It's from Jesse. Who's your favorite female songwriter?
Jesse who?
Jesse Alexander.
Jesse Alexander.
It's you, baby.
That's an easy one. It's you.
She knew we
It's
were going
you.
to say that.
Absolutely.
She knew that. That was a setup.
Well, she's
That's an
amazing.
easy one.
That was a
That's an easy
setup.
That's an easy
if
one.
I've ever heard one.
We
She's
love you,
amazing.
Jesse.
best.
She's by far, hands down, my favorite.
Absolutely.
We all have a song on the latest record with her, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Rather Watch
Rather Watch You.
Yeah.
Go download that one while you're at it.
Nice.
Yeah, she's got. So
You're a
many
pro.
hits. She had so many Blake Shelton hits. She got a hit out right now. I don't know the title of it, but somebody told me about it the other day. But
She's got one of the best songs of all time.
I
she's got.
drive your truck.
Drive Your Truck.
Give it.
It's a huge copyright.
Okay, here we go.
Everything. She's amazing.
This is from Kimberly. This is a great question. Have you guys gotten a lot of pushback from family members about your political views
Ooh, good
and
one.
or after the song came out? This is actually a really good question. A pushback, no, for me, but I do have not immediate, but family members that have disagreeing views. So it is interesting, but luckily in my family, it isn't like it causes division in some families. It's like,
Oh, no
where
doubt.
people just don't talk anymore. That's not the case with me. Have you guys had any kind of family or friends that, disagreements that have caused a end to the relationship or a severing?
I'll go with the family thing first.
Yeah.
I will say I have an incredible family, extended family, and and I was telling everybody because like we always talk about, we're grassroots on this podcast, and so you send out to family and friends all the stuff, and I sent it out and I said, hey, follow us on Instagram, all that stuff, and had a large amount of my family that did. And then there was a few others that didn't, and I didn't think they would, and they may not be able to because of where they work in corporate America. So they may not be able to follow that, and so it doesn't have anything to do with I'd never mentioned anything to them about it, but you just kind of know the ones that don't, and but we still have Christmas and Thanksgiving and everything's great, and so but no family rift or anything like that. As we've talked about before, it wasn't one of those hits that we had out that all your buddies are saying, hey, congrats on that Aldine single. Love it. Like you usually get that because it's very hard to get on the radio, So I didn't get many of those from the normals that I would get from friends.
Nope.
All in a line.
I'm from Alabama. Nope.
Tell anything?
I have I have a very large family. My mom and dad divorced when I was 2, so I've got very large family on both sides. One small sect of my family tends to lean the other way, which is completely fine. It was fine until they bought into the all the mess around the video. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Which that's the only thing that bothered me. And we never really talked about it, but it was a thing where they thought there was racism involved in it, and I didn't even take part in that conversation because it's ridiculous. It was media spun. Mm-hmm. So, but like I said, it's family. It's nothing we can't get over.
No,
and I think that's the important thing.
And that's the thing. It's like, politics is that. Family, I would hope people have bigger bonds and love that you can disagree about things. And, and I think we all have the same thing, in which we have faith. And we know that whatever happens, we still have that. You know what I mean? It's like politics is just that. There's going to be Republicans voted in and Democrats voted in. And at the end of the day, that's not what really matters. So,
well, it matters this year.
Well, our family argues more about college football, like SEC, because you got Georgia, you got Tennessee, you got Alabama and all that. So we argue more about that than politics, which is more fun.
Okay, let's go through these. We got a couple really good ones from Just B 1224. What's the best part about being able to do this podcast? The hardest part? And do you feel completely free to speak your mind? Anybody want to take that?
Those are good ones.
Wow.
Best, worst, or hardest? And do you feel completely free to speak your mind?
I do.
I know you do.
I do. A lot of what I say gets edited out.
That'll make it.
Now that part will make it.
But a lot does stay in there.
It really does.
Is there a hard part? Anybody want to? The hard part. I'll jump in. We've been on the road all week last week, right? Mm-hmm. We were in Canada last night. We flew in early this morning. We have 2 days in town. One of our days is here, so you don't get as much family time as you would hope or need. That can sometimes be the hard part. I think for the most part, we feel pretty free to speak our mind. There's things we might not completely dive into, but for the most part, I think
it's fun getting together.
Yeah.
Because we were so close that's definitely the fun part.
That's a great point because we're all really close, right?
Yeah.
But we don't really just talk on the phone together. This is our talking time.
It really is.
Yeah, it's when we're getting to know each other, because we've said this before, like Neil and I have been writing and buddies for a long time. And, Try That in Small Town was our first song that we'd ever written together. And when that happens and you have that kind of success and everything, you become very
No,
close.
Rearview
very
Town
fast,
was our first
you
song
know?
we wrote together.
Well, not the
Oh,
four.
you're
of
talking about the
us.
four of us.
Yeah, yeah.
I think about
Yeah, and that
you
wasn't
just
our-
said my name. I just
But
thought
that
you were
wasn't
talking-
our first song.
It was our first hit.
Well, we've had other radio. Is the first number one. Yeah.
Ooh.
We've had other things on the radio. But anyway, my point was in saying that like the fun part is doing something you hadn't done before. You know, like we all talk individually or text and said, hey, we got this coming up and we got this guest and do you know them? And just kind of researching and getting to know people that you don't know and do something outside your comfort level, but talking about things that you enjoy and just the camaraderie and the friendship and just knowing, saying, hey, we're getting together tonight. It's going to be fun. You know, we're going to hang out and talk about stuff and just kind of learn as we go.
I love talking about politics, but I don't love talking about politics.
And that's what's hard. Actually, I'm glad you mentioned that because I don't think any of us are afraid to say what we're thinking, but I'm afraid to say something that isn't correct, like happened with Tootsies.
Yeah.
So now I'm like in my.
But you know what? And as we're learning, that's okay.
Because we're not news anchors. It's just like
No.
my opinion on something. That's all it is.
And sometimes I don't think people care. It's just that they get bombarded by people's
Yeah.
opinions every day, every minute of the day.
Well,
it's like-
and hopefully, and I think you're right, but hopefully the distinction is or will be, we're not, gaslighting is a new term, but you know, it's like, we're not doing any of that. We're not just trying to get clickbait. I think we're just trying to speak from the heart. And that's the difference. You can't turn on whatever news channel, Fox, MSNBC, CNN, any of them, and think you're really getting messages from the heart. I think that's what we're trying to do that could separate us from that thing. Hopefully.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Love you guys and love the podcast. Yes. What's the most memorable, oh boy, road story that you will never forget and or can tell? It can be collective, or you can all share one from your times on the road. That's a great question. Oh,
I think that was directed to you two.
there's a lot of great road stories. Some of them
They've already heard about the fight.
might be, well,
You
you're right.
You
they
beat
got
Tully's
that one.
ass. We've already heard that one.
And just so you know, I mean, these guys, you guys have been on the road plenty. You can share anything. You were out there quite a bit on your own as an artist. You were also out there
but I
quite a
wasn't
bit.
making any money.
But usually those are the best stories.
Yeah, right. I do remember one time when I was in Steubenville, Ohio.
Oh, we know Steubenville.
Yep. And I was in like one of those one-level motels, and the shady kind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember calling Lana from a payphone, and she was crying. You remember that, Lana? She was crying, and I said, "What's wrong?" And she goes, "We just got our first," like when I had my first hit as a writer. I was on the road doing radio tour as an artist, but Diamond Rio had cut like That's What I Get for Loving You, and it was my first hit.
Oh, that's
a
awesome.
good
And she had the first check that we had ever gotten. And she was
She got the check.
Yeah, she's holding it, and that's why she was crying. And she's like, she thought it was a mistake. Like, there's no way. And so that was a cool road story, because I'm out there not making a dime.
I think
right.
people don't realize that the poorest you'll be is when you're just starting out as an artist.
Yeah.
Whether-
Radio
yeah.
tour, you're doing everything, every penny goes to the band and fuel and whatever for the van that you're riding in. And you're in the hole, actually.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
There's a great story. We haven't talked about it, and this isn't like one of those crazy late night drinking, crazy road stories. But one of my favorite memories is we had finished. I think Hicktown had peaked, and the record had just come out. Jason's first album with Hicktown on it, and Amarillo Sky, and we were on the release, like the album release tour. We were doing some clubs in the Southeast promoting the release of that record, and we were all like walking on the beach like midday, and the number came in that we had sold like 28,000 albums the first week, which was really good for then. And I remember thinking we were all out there like pumped up that now we can maybe stay on the road for another year or two. And just the joy in that was pretty great. Like, just I remember like looking back on those days, you know, it's easy where we are now to take it in, and now it's huge, but it wasn't that way then. It was like every song was a big deal. What was it going to do? Then the album comes out, and is anyone going to buy it?
Right.
You know,
I think a lot of people ask about favorite memories, and kind of to what you were saying, it's not necessarily stories, but it's those moments, and it's always in the beginning, kind of speaking to what you were doing too, when you didn't know if it would work. And we were on the road 320 days a year, and the bond that you form during that time when you don't know what's going to happen and you do something with your brothers, that's what you look back on. And like, I think we've talked about this a lot when Hicktown was the first single, and there was the first gig that we knew that it might be working was in Portland. Mm-hmm. You remember that? We played the show, and it was the first time that people were singing it back to us, and it was like they were into it, and we were like, oh my God, they know the song, and it was like, kind of like you said, this could work.
Yeah, and those are the years you become a band. Like everybody, you know, it was us and Jason, a 5-piece band on the bus together with a sound guy and a guy, you know, just doing some merch or helping the monitors, all crammed in one bus and like going from club to club. And that's when the band became a band. That's when it was like, okay, you know, playing 220 shows a year or whatever, not coming off the road. So yeah, those memories that's what I find myself looking back on as the years go by. Remembering
Kalo, you got a road story?
Yeah, I got one. As y'all were talking about that, I was thinking about one. It was years ago, and Ashley Gorley and I were going out on the road to write with Scotty McCreery. So they actually had us a bus, you know, full-on bus, driver stocked and everything behind him, and going. And it was just me and Ashley in there. And I thought, this is gonna be freaking great. You know, we're rolling like rock stars. We got our own bus and everything. This is great. We got snacks and drinks and all the stuff in there. And we're just kind of getting ideas. And you know how it goes on the road. You're riding with them, you know, in between interviews and things like that. But it was the first night, and it's probably about 3:00. You know, we weren't even in bed. You know, so they stopped and everything, and stopped on the side of the road, and then like 8 people piled in. You know, just kept going on and carrying all their stuff. Like, what the hell? This is our bus. this is our bus. You know. And so one of the buses broke down, you know, the band bus or crew or lighting, whatever, and they're all filing in. And I was like a child. You could see the excitement disappear from my face, thinking, oh my God, 3 nights. Now there's 12 of us, you know. And so that was my terrible bus story, because it started out as elation and rock stars and ended up, you know, we were riding in the front of the bus, you know, with 8 other people just looking at us and stuff. It was a little awkward. But, yeah.
This is a good question and interesting from Chris Woolard, 77. We saw y'all in December 2019 in Vegas. What was it like coming back for the first time since the Route 91 shooting? What kind of emotions were y'all experiencing coming back? That's a good question, and there was definitely emotions the first time we went back. And to kind of even maybe backtrack a little further, I remember the first show. We took the next weekend off right after the shooting, mm-hmm. and then we did Saturday Night Live, and that was great. And then the next show back was in New Orleans, and it was outside in a very eerie type of setting where there is a lot of buildings out in front of you. And that was probably the one show that since then I had a hard time, mm-hmm. because you're just looking out and going, this is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that one was hard for me. When we went back to Vegas, it was weird to go back, and it was weird to see the hotel that, you know, the shooter was up at. And they still have the venue fenced off and closed off. And that was kind of weird as well. So yeah, there was a lot of feelings. What was great about it is that there were a lot of fans that came that were obviously at the original show. And this is anytime we go back, even in the area. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of Round 91 family there, and they're always holding up signs, and you get that connection with these people immediately. It's unexplainable, and you can't even describe it, but you see them and you just go, yeah, that's family. Mm. So that's kind of like my thoughts on it. Yeah.
Yeah. When we went back, I think we're all the same, where it's like, I know that we all, those emotions generally come up for the victims. I don't think we look at ourselves as victims. I know for a fact that we think about the people that didn't make it out of there. Mm-hmm. That's what makes it hard. I mean, I think we talked about this before, but it's in our DNA to kind of move forward and get out there and do what we do. But the victims didn't have a choice. So that's what makes it hard. Like every time I go back there, thinking about that, because they were there seeing us. It was our crowd. That was our fans. Make no mistake about it. It wasn't anybody else. It was our fans, Jason's fans. Yep. So there's automatically a little bit of natural guilt that comes in that, But yeah, but Vegas, Vegas has always been so good to us as well. Like we've played Vegas so many times, and when that happened there, now it all just means a little more. It's a different thing, But we spent a lot of time there.
We do.
Some of the first shows we did as a band were playing outside the rodeo in December, freezing, playing 4-piece. Like Kurt was playing with gloves on, and we all were staying in one hotel room. Oh yeah,
it was just the fingertips.
Yeah, right. Man, I would tell you, it was. I remember playing Amarillo Sky outside the rodeo finals. Is the finals in there?
Oh yeah, in December.
Out setting upside on where people are walking past us. And we're playing Y in Amarillo Sky. Got scarves on and gloves on, and that's what I mean. Like those road stories. That's a good road story. Like we're in one hotel room.
Oh yeah,
So we go back. We've played Vegas so many times, and I guess it was, I always say that not to sound weird or anything, but I really do believe that we were meant to be on the stage that night. So it's just another thing that we have connected to Vegas.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, here's another great question from Kathy. I'm sure it's too late. It's not, Kathy. But my question is, if a politician/advertiser wants to use a song that an artist has recorded but did not write, and they say no, but the writer's okays the use of the song, who has the ultimate say? Jeez, that's a lot of information.
That's it. That's a lot.
I'm sure my question, if a politician advertiser wants to use a song that an artist has recorded but didn't write.
Well, the artist has the final say over everything.
I would say, first out, especially if it's
not necessarily.
Well, no, I'll just say like in this family, let's say, because that is a tough question.
Yeah.
It's Aldine, right?
Right.
So he's going to have that say, and the songwriters are going to go along with whatever he says.
That's happened before. It happened to us.
Yeah,
it happened to us in Aldine.
Yeah,
with Flower States.
And so in the publisher, in a different scenario, that'd be a tough one because you have a lot of publishers.
Yeah, but I think the artist.
I don't think you can make an artist sing a song he doesn't want to sing.
They have to get permission from the publishers first, the copyright owner first.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're asking if they want to use the recorded song, right, Kurt?
I think so.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds
well,
like.
They want to use the recorded
They're
song.
not doing anything without the artist.
No, they can't. That's a fact.
Correct. So that's fact. I think that's whatever the artist says, everybody has no choice but to go along either way.
That could get ugly if one of them, one party said it was cool and yes, and all that could get a little dicey. But if the artist, but I agree, if it's the recording that the artist has, the actual recording of it, I
think that's what
the record label can shut
We might
that
need
down.
a lawyer.
Yeah, we need a lawyer anyway.
But I think ultimately, in that sense, let's say if it was, hey, we want this song played at the Democratic Convention, the DNC, right?
Yeah,
and
the
so
recording.
we're like, okay, the artist doesn't want that. that'd be easy enough for the artist to say, no, we don't want that. And the writers aren't going to fight for it and say, yes, we want it played.
Writers have no say.
Yeah, we wouldn't have say in that.
We have no say.
Because we always want what's best for the artist because it's best for us.
Okay, I'm trying to find. I remember the question, but I don't see who the name is, and I'll get to it, and we'll make sure you get taken care of. But the question was for all of us: what's your favorite deep Jason Aldean cut that you didn't write? You guys have
Speak wisely.
That we didn't write, though.
Well,
Speak wisely.
He's insinuating you should say flyover states.
Deep cut.
Yeah.
If a deep cut wouldn't be a single, right?
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
What?
Deep cut.
What does that mean? What does
Go
deep
ahead.
cut
We
mean?
have the same one.
It was, oh boy, Grown Woman.
Okay.
It was on what record? Do you remember?
Record number 2.
Grown Woman was a song that I know Brett James wrote,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And I don't know who else, so forgive me, but Miranda sang backup on it. It should have been a single. It's a great song. Go listen to Grown Woman.
Yeah. I like
Oh, I know.
Back in the Cigarette.
It's a good one.
Yep.
It's a good song.
Mike Mobley.
Man, we're getting some honest
Yep.
shit out now.
I can't remember the other writer. I'm so sorry. There's another writer on it.
Oh, that's
But it's Back in the Cigarette on.
I really don't like that question.
Yeah.
Well,
Neil?
you'll like
Ow.
this.
Now, choose wisely.
You'll like this. Mine is Rock and Roll Cowboy.
ooh.
Really?
Oh, that's actually a good one.
I feel like that's a big old hit.
So
I
they
love
missed
it.
that one by not putting it out.
Well, and you can't put them all out. You just don't have.
You can't.
You don't have time to put them all
unfortunately.
out.
I
You
know.
know, you just don't have the window for it.
Deep
But
cut.
I love that.
Does
song.
that just mean album cut?
Yeah.
Is that what that
Yeah.
means?
Yeah, just something kind of hidden away.
On Aldean.
Yeah.
That you didn't write, which is harder for you than anybody.
Which is hard
I know.
because you have the most
I know.
Aldean cuts.
So you only have 3 options on each record that you didn't write.
Because my songs are like my children, so I can only think of them.
Unfortunately, it can't be Last
Well,
You
then
Cried.
you know what? You don't even have to go deep cut. You can just go
No.
favorite Aldean song.
No, I can't do that. That's a toughie. I don't know.
Well, make it.
I don't
Because it's I always
Decision
think,
24.
Well, I got to be honest. I'm like, because I've had some stuff on him that I thought were
Let's go with that. then.
fantastic.
We'll
I mean, I was like
amend-
that. I was like, wow. Why did that not come out? You know, and I'm still mad.
I
Well, then
don't
let's
drink
amend
anymore, maybe.
the question. What song of yours that wasn't a single do you wish would have been a single?
see you when I
That's
see
a good
you.
one.
See you when I
See you when I see
Yeah, it's a
you.
great song.
It's a great song.
He asked me and Kurt about it, and we said that's probably not a single.
And ironically, they had the next single. The label picked it. They didn't pick it. It was the label.
No, that's amazing. As a matter of fact, we play that in our show for a long time. We played it for a few years. Great song.
See you when I see. Here's a very blunt question, blunt answer forthcoming from Grant Cagle. The question is our buddy Grant.
Yeah.
He says Yankees or Red Sox.
Well, I'll jump in. Red Sox, and I'll just leave it there. Red Sox, lifetime Red Sox fan. I will say I miss the hardcore, Yankees Red Sox days.
Yeah.
I'll leave it there.
Grant's a friend of ours. Both Neil and I know Grant. He's a fan of the show, and he's also a huge Yankees fan, let's just say. And part owner. Sorry, Grant. Red Sox.
Hey, I got a question for y'all.
Oh, yeah.
If you could be invisible for one day,
Oh, my God. This is amazing.
Oh, wow.
This is the kind of stuff we need.
if you could be invisible for one day, what would you do?
Oh, boy. If you could be invisible
Jeez.
one day.
What would you do?
This is like,
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I want to answer this.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm not going to.
do you have an answer since it was
No,
your
I
question?
don't. I just
Visible for one day.
If you could be invisible for one day, what would you do?
A whole day.
Yes,
I mean,
a whole
I'm
day.
probably so.
Where would you
old.
go? What would you do?
I would want to be wherever the president was all day long. Air Force One, Oval Office.
So you'd hang with
everywhere.
Trump.
And I want to see whoever it is. I want to hear what we're missing, like what we don't know.
Wow,
That's
that's
what I would-
actually a great
what I'd wanna know.
answer. I was going to say something.
You know
really
what?
stupid.
And I'm going to send that question out to the fans too. I want to know what they would do if they could be invisible for one day. But right now, I want to know what Tully and Kurt. We know what Kayla would do, and that's a fabulous answer. What would
Thank you.
Tully
God,
and Kurt do?
I thought it was just going to be I'd lay around all day and hope no one noticed.
I actually was going to say go to the White House,
Yeah.
which isn't as in depth as yours, but I was curious. I'd like to sneak through those JFK files and stuff.
Man,
I can do that,
That'd be
right?
good. Yeah.
Can I feel things or just look?
you're invisible.
No, you can
do
do
what you
can do
want.
stuff. Yeah, you're just invisible. Yeah.
Can I touch things?
I mean, not inappropriate things. We're not talking about
Yeah.
ladies and things.
Neil, you got something?
No, it's on you, bub.
I have no answer. I'm completely creatively void of any answers right now.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
It really is. There's so much that we'd want to do. I mean, go hang out with Tiger Woods. I mean, the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
I jump on a flight, nobody'd know you're there. Fly wherever you want to go. You can get in anything. You can get in anywhere you want to get,
My mind's going to different places.
but you only have a day to do it.
I don't know.
Fans,
Caught me off guard.
fans, send in your answers to that question. That'll be good.
Okay, this might be the last question, and it's good. From Ed Frankovic. I heard Kenny Chesney recently say that songwriters have a tough time right now making money on their songs. Ooh, we're going there. I imagine that this is how the whole publishing thing got hot and heavy. I love songwriters. Is there any way that you can explain this to the fans?
Well, I'll let Neil take most of it, but just in layman's terms, just so out there listening know, if you hear our song on a radio station, like whatever the wolf, we're making money.
It's what they call terrestrial radio.
If you hear our song on Spotify or Pandora or whatever streaming, we're not making any money. And it's heartbreaking because you can have a song that can stream millions and millions and millions of times, and you're making almost no money. Neil, take it away.
I can give them a comparison, and so can Kayla. I mean, in the 90s, in the early 2000s, all the way through the first decade of the 2000s, when there were still CDs, we made really good money on mechanical royalties. If you had 2 or 3 cuts on a Jason Aldean record that sold 2 or 3 million copies, we made a really good living on mechanical royalties.
Sales
and mechanical
matter.
Sales matter. Yes,
And it could still matter.
It could still.
if they could make it where it still matters. They could make it where X amount of streams equal. They could do that.
Right. But just to go back to what
Yeah.
he's saying, albums used to sell 3 or 4 million.
Hard
albums,
products
so
make-
you
yeah.
would make money
Yeah.
for being a part of the album.
I made my
Right.
retirement in those days with Rascal Flatts and Jason Aldean. I had 50-something songs recorded by Rascal Flatts. I've had 30-something songs recorded by Jason. And those were on the big records. Those were when CDs were the big thing, and they were selling hard copies, millions of them. And we did really, really well, thank God. Today, if you moved to Nashville today and you wanted to make a living at it, good luck, because it's all about streaming now. It's all about streaming, and they still haven't gotten it. Even though they've fixed it a little bit. Thank God for NSAI. Those guys are warriors, and we love them, and we thank God for those guys every day. But it's still not right, and NSAI is still not happy about it, and they're still fighting for songwriters to get these rates up and get it to where it's feasible for people to move to town and write songs for a living.
Yeah, you're saying the industry has moved to streaming. Unfortunately, they haven't found a way to make the songwriters get paid accordingly for that.
They don't want to find a way.
Yeah. Well, and for the ease of math, and we're talking about mechanical royalty, which a mechanical is a physical sale. That's what it used to be.
Yes.
Like you go into Walmart and you buy something, that's a mechanical royalty. And so let's say you have one song that was on a record that sold 1 million records. So for the ease of math, let's say the statutory rate for mechanicals is 9 cents. Okay, so you got 9 pennies per song, period. So if you're on 1 million records, that'd be $90,000. And let's say 3 of us wrote that. And let's say it's me, Kurt, and Tully, because Neil gets so much already. and so out of that, that 90,000, it's split into 30s, right? And so, but you have the publishers that get a piece of that too. And so you got 15, which you can recoup from that. But you might have been writing at that publisher for a few years, so you might be on a platinum record, 1 million selling record, and still not make anything or recoup. But you could eventually catch up, and especially with mailbox money, if you get anything on the radio, that's when that's the money we can live on.
Nowadays, that's really the only way to make a decent.
And that's
really
getting
for us
in the
to
weeds
live.
a little.
It is
a little bit, but
here's the thing that bugs me. They've adapted. They've adapted those to make it work for the producers and the artists
and even
the labels
musicians.
still. But they have not gone out of the way to adapt the fact that streaming is now the king and that there isn't like physical CDs sold. Mm-hmm. Everybody else has adapted just fine. It's
no
that
doubt.
they haven't put the value on the songwriter. And then look, we're producers, we produce, and hey, it's great, right? But the value of the songwriter is lost, and that's why the quality songs are down.
Yeah. Even as musicians, we get paid
Yep.
for streaming maybe
Yeah.
more than we do as writers.
Hey,
It's
I was fixing to say.
Yeah.
There was
it's-
one year that I made more money
singing, I bet.
for singing
Yeah.
background vocals on records than I did as a songwriter.
Yeah. That's crazy. Anyway, hopefully that explains it a little. Kayla, you said you wanted to give somebody a shout out. What you got?
Well, one other thing on that, if you don't
Oh,
mind.
yeah, absolutely.
Because we're all kind of dealing with it, and I just had a lunch with my publisher Friday talking about it, is that you're writing with artists now that you write a song and you feel like, okay, that could be a hit, and then they said, yeah, I'll hit you with a demo. But you don't get the demo. What you see is you go on social media and they've released half the song on their socials, right? It's like, oh, wow, that's my title and everything, and now it's out there for the whole world, and you're not making anything on it. That's not even a streaming thing. Like it's on Instagram, you're not making a thing on that. And so now we're having to try to go to publishers and say, hey, if we're going to write with artists that are going to just release stuff socially, we have to have something, you got to own the master a little bit, something like that. So anyway, we're really in a spot to where it's really cool for the people releasing it, but the writers are still not making anything, and the law catching up with the technology, we're always behind.
That's it. The law's catching up to technology. It's just
right.
way behind.
It is a great subject. I know we're running long, but like
This is a whole
It's a whole
podcast.
different-
We could do a whole podcast.
But I think
it
it's
is.
interesting though, because I think people think when they hear a song, no matter where they hear it, like, oh, you're making money and the writers are making money. It hasn't, like Kayla said it best. Look, me and Kurt have been inside the Spotify building in New York City. It's for some reason the writers have been left behind when it comes down to the splits. And I hate it. I was just talking to a young writer last week, and they're like, I want to move to Nashville. I said, don't do it. I said, the odds, hey, don't do it. I said, the odds of you achieving what we have achieved are not great. And I said, it's just not set up for that right now. Like, it's not set up for success as a writer just to get stuff streaming.
And the sad thing about that is this kid could be the greatest songwriter that band's ever known, and it still wouldn't matter.
Well, and we've talked about this before too.
Wouldn't matter.
It's
You're
all
right.
kind of relative in the time. You can tell that kid that he's probably still coming.
That's
And
fine.
he might find a way.
I'm just,
You know.
I'm not a, well, that's another podcast.
It is. Actually, there's a lot of
Yeah, there's a
weird-
lot of good.
I'll let
there's
it
a lot of
go.
good
Who
stuff.
asked that question? What's his name?
I let it go, but we'll get back to it. Ed Frankovich?
It's a good question because I
Wow.
think people are
You
curious.
opened up a
about-
can of worms, Frank.
But it's
Thanks.
good though.
No, it's great.
Hey, and by the way, to all these, Kayla, I'm going to get to your thing here in a second, but I just want to make sure people know we put out this thing on Instagram, said, hey, send us your questions. First of all, thank you for doing that. We're going to send you something fun. Could be this mug. Might be that mug. So we're going to go back through and make sure we hit everybody that got their question on air tonight.
Can we send Steve Smith something?
We better.
Yeah, we should. And also, I just want to give D.D. Williams and Amore Price a shout out because they've asked a couple of questions. They're good friends of mine from high school and always follow me. Any kind of town thing, they're always there. And we've already kind of covered those questions. But love you guys. Thank you very much for listening to us and keep spreading the word.
Absolutely. I mean, thank everybody for listening. Yeah. And this is, guys, we've gotten to a point where we can actually put out a thing on Instagram. Say, send us your questions.
I love the questions.
And people asking the questions.
I do too.
That's fun.
It's pretty awesome.
And it actually is the interaction's great.
Yeah, I loved it. So the Instagram handle is @TryThatPodcast. I believe that's the same for X, for TikTok, for Facebook. Watch us on YouTube, like, subscribe, right?
Yep.
Kalo says what? Download,
smash it.
Smash it, y'all. Listen, from TK, I'm not going to say Neil, Kalo, Neil.
Thank you, Kurt.
I'm Kurt. Listen, that is the Try That Podcast.
Here's to another one, boys.
Yes, sir. Let's
Cheers,
go.
everybody.
Y'all be careful on the road.
Get that
Cheers.
RV.
Boom.
Make sure to follow along, subscribe, share, rate the show, and check out our merch at trythatinasmalltown.com.